Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's #2 economy. My name is Tony. We have a big episode today, a lot to get through, so let's jump in. According to new revelations leaked by German media, Germany's Foreign Intelligence Agency, the BND, concluded with an 80 to 95% likelihood that the COVID-19 pandemic originated from a lab in Wuhan. The assessment, which was formulated as early as 2020, was kept under wraps until this week, with German officials at the time opting not to make the findings public at the time. Reports from Munich-based SZ and Hamburg-based Die Zeit indicate that the BND's conclusions were based on an intelligence operation codenamed Sharema, as well as publicly available data. The intelligence suggested that researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology engaged in gain-of-function experiments which involved modifying viruses to make them more transmissible to humans. These activities were reportedly conducted in conjunction with serious breaches of laboratory safety requirements. According to Die Zeit, quote, the BND found evidence of numerous violations of safety regulations at the Wuhan lab, coupled with research techniques that posed significant risks. End quote. The report was commissioned by the then Chancellor Angela Merkel's office, but was never officially published. The BND's assessment aligns with findings from US intelligence agencies. In January of this year, the CIA publicly stated that it considered a laboratory origin for COVID-19 to be more likely than a natural spillover, though it rated its confidence level at this conclusion as, quote, low. End quote. Similarly, the FBI indicated in March of 2023 that it believed the pandemic most likely originated from a lab in Wuhan. Despite these assessments, the US intelligence community remains divided. Some agencies, including parts of the National Intelligence Council, continue to argue for the possibility of a natural origin. And of course, over the weekend, as we reported here on China Update, a federal court in Missouri found the Chinese government liable for the pandemic, awarding $24 billion. As we said at the time, though, it's unclear how this decision will be enforced. China has repeatedly denied allegations that the Wuhan lab was responsible for the outbreak. Beijing has instead accused Western nations, particularly the United States, of politicizing the origins of the virus. In a recent statement, China's foreign ministry reiterated, quote, the Wuhan Institute of Virology never carried out any gain-of-function research on coronaviruses and was not involved in the creation or leakage of the COVID-19 virus, end quote. The revelations of these German intelligence findings is likely to strain Germany's diplomatic ties with China, particularly at a time when Beijing is seeking to drive a wedge between the European Union and the United States, something we discussed earlier this week. The cautious approach of German politicians to publicly address the report may reflect concerns about potential economic and political repercussions. Indeed, German politicians likely remember what happened to Australia when it called for an inquiry into the origins of COVID-19 back in 2020. It was hit by China with painful economic sanctions. As more intelligence agencies weigh in on the origins of COVID-19, the debate over accountability and transparency continues. However, if major countries like Germany are hesitant to even publish intelligence reports unflattering to China out of fear of retaliation, it seems unlikely that there will be any accountability nor transparency around this question. Next up, China has issued a stark warning to Walmart Inc., cautioning the US retail giant against transferring the burden of increased US tariffs onto Chinese suppliers. Officials from the Ministry of Commerce and other regulatory bodies summoned Walmart executives for discussions regarding reports that the company had pressured Chinese suppliers for price reductions. The move, first reported by a Weibo account affiliated with the state-run CCTV, underscores Beijing's resolve in counteracting the economic pressures stemming from US tariffs. Quote, Chinese consumers know how to look for the suppliers that make Walmart's products and purchase directly from them. End quote. The CCTV affiliated post warned, hinting at a potential state media-driven consumer backlash against the company. The meeting follows reports from US-based outlets Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal that Walmart had asked suppliers for significant price cuts as a means to shield American consumers from higher costs triggered by the latest tariffs imposed by US President Donald Trump. Walmart, which sources approximately 60% of its products from China, finds itself in a tricky spot. as it balances the interests of suppliers, consumers, and the geopolitical landscape. And of course, even if Beijing is able to scare companies like Walmart into not taking sharper cuts from Chinese suppliers, passing the costs on to consumers, this will make these Chinese supplies less competitive than other alternatives, which in the longer run could result in supply chains changing and consumption moving to other providers. A Walmart spokesperson responded to the concern saying, quote, "We have a strong business in China and we are proud of our associates around the world who are delivering for customers and members. Our discussions with suppliers aim to offer low prices while maintaining strong relationships." End quote. However, Chinese authorities and industry groups were less than reassured. The China Chamber of Commerce for Import and Export of Textiles confirmed receiving complaints about Walmart's pricing demands and pledged to take measures to protect domestic suppliers, stating, quote, "If verified, we will take necessary steps to safeguard our members' interests." End quote. Chinese commentators also voiced strong opposition. Columnist Guan Xin wrote, for example, yesterday, quote, "This meeting shows that the Chinese SMEs, small and medium enterprises, are not to be squeezed at will. They have the state backing them, and they are not at Walmart's mercy." End quote. The stakes remain high for Walmart, which has seen robust growth in China, particularly through its Sam's Club membership stores. Whether Walmart and other companies can navigate these pressures without further straining its supplier relationships remains to be seen. Next up, we have two more developments to cover, but just quickly, if you're getting some value from today's episode of China Update, I have a big favor to ask. That is just to hit the like button, and if you have not done so already and you think you'll watch another one of these episodes in the future, maybe consider subscribing. 44% of regular viewers are not subscribed, so if you're one of these regular viewers, maybe click that button as well. It's a tremendous help. Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description. For those who want to help keep the channel financially sustainable, I rely primarily on subscriber support to keep going. Thank you so much, everybody, for the ongoing support. Now let's continue. China has taken a leap forward in railway technology with the debut of the CR450, the world's fastest high-speed train. Currently undergoing type tests on Beijing's ring railways, this cutting-edge train is set to redefine commercial rail travel with an impressive operational speed of 400 kilometers per hour and a test speed reaching 450 kilometers per hour. Actually, I just realized, let me check. 400 kilometers per hour. Let me see how much that is in miles for our North American viewers. That is approximately 250 miles per hour. Unveiled on the 29th of December 2024 in Beijing, the CR450 significantly outpaces the CR400 Fuxinghao model, which operates at 350 kilometers per hour. To achieve its remarkable speed, engineers have enhanced key systems, including improved traction capability, dynamic performance, and pantograph technology. The CR450 incorporates a water-cooled permanent magnet traction system, a next-generation high-stability bogie, and multiple system innovations to sustain peak performance. Safety remains a concern as well, with the train featuring multi-level emergency braking control and over 4,000 on-board sensors monitoring essential systems in real time. An over-the-horizon detection system further improves track hazard recognition. With intelligent upgrades in operation, safety monitoring, and passenger services, the CR450 hopes to set a new global benchmark for high-speed rail travel. High-speed rail was pioneered by the Japanese in the latter half of the last century, but China has grown to be a major competitor and player in the high-speed rail global industry, and now boasts the largest system of high-speed rail in the world. Now we move on to the last development for today, which is unfortunately a little bit heavier. China's preparations for a Taiwan invasion extend beyond military maneuvers and economic pressure. They include an aggressive legal campaign designed to establish the legitimacy of an invasion. Beijing's approach, known as lawfare, aims to frame an invasion as a lawful internal matter, thus reducing international resistance and slowing potential military intervention. By systematically shaping the legal landscape, China seeks to ensure that when military action becomes a reality, it will be perceived as justified under international law. Now, this is according to a detailed examination by military lawyers from the US and Taiwanese armed forces, published in US outlet War on the Rocks this week. The piece is called Exposing China's Legal Preparations for a Taiwan Invasion, and it highlights China's legal preparations for an invasion and suggests counter-lawfare strategies to mitigate its effects. At the heart of China's legal strategy is the anti-secession law, which claims Taiwan as an inseparable part of China and asserts Beijing's right to use force if peaceful unification efforts fail. This law establishes a pretext for military aggression, portraying it as a legal necessity rather than an act of war. Simultaneously, China promotes the One China principle, pressuring other nations and international bodies to accept its sovereignty over Taiwan. This campaign has been very effective. Many UN member states now implicitly or explicitly endorse Beijing's stance. Beijing's lawfare efforts also involve rewriting historical narratives, the paper argues. China, quote, falsely asserts, end quote, that the Cairo and Potsdam Declaration affirm its sovereignty over Taiwan, despite these documents predating the establishment of the People's Republic of China. In contrast, the San Francisco Peace Treaty of 1951, which left Taiwan's legal status unresolved, provides a stronger basis for countering China's claims. Beijing's omission of this treaty from its legal framework, quote, is a strategic maneuver to bolster its position while ignoring inconvenient facts. End quote. To challenge China's lawfare campaign and deter aggression, the paper argues, Taiwan's international supporters must take proactive measures. These include 1. Dismantle China's legal justifications, expose the flaws in China's legal claims by highlighting the ambiguity of Taiwan's status under international law, undermine Beijing's assertion that UN Resolution 2758 supports its sovereignty over Taiwan, clarifying that the resolution merely recognized the People's Republic of China as China's representative at the UN without addressing Taiwan's status. 2. Strengthen strategic communications. Clarify the distinction between national One China policies and Beijing's interpretation of the principle. Expand diplomatic messaging to reinforce Taiwan's right to self-defense under the UN Charter's prohibition on the use of force. 3. Promote Taiwan inclusion in international forums. Support Taiwan's participation in global legal discussions and governance initiatives, increasing its visibility and legitimacy. Counter China's attempts to isolate Taiwan by ensuring its involvement in organizations that impact global security and trade. And 4. Enhance military and legal coordination. Encourage joint military exercises in the Taiwan Strait, signaling a commitment to upholding international law. Develop intelligence sharing frameworks focused on legal indicators of Beijing's aggression, ensuring early warnings of potential action. These are all good recommendations in the space of lawfare, but ultimately whether there is a conflict over the Taiwan Strait will come down to one primary factor: hard power. And this is the policy with which Beijing on the one side and Taipei, Tokyo and Washington on the other will be most focused on in the years ahead. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much everybody for watching. Have a good Thursday, and I will see you all tomorrow.